More true crime videos on the channel.
In 1994, on the outskirts of the American city of Cleveland, Sabrina Zunich was born. Her birth was not a happy event for her parents. They simply did not care about her. Susan and Mark were walking on a knife edge. Several criminal convictions, prolonged alcoholism, and addiction to illegal substances were an integral part of their lives. Little Sabrina was a hindrance to their rambunctious life. She demanded attention, which the new parents preferred to give to their usual routine. To keep their daughter out of the way, Susan sometimes put alcohol in her milk bottle to make her fall asleep faster and not distract them from important things. When Sabrina was 4 years old, her parents were again prosecuted for robbery. Then the girl was brought up by her grandmother, who was also not distinguished by special affection. Then no one could even guess what cruelty towards the child would one day lead to. As a teenager, Zunich attended the ordinary Wycliffe High School, where she almost immediately earned a reputation as a bully. She skipped classes and got into fights with boys. She had no friends. Many realized that the hour is very close. Sabrina is about to cross the line and follow in the footsteps of her parents. And so it happened. At the age of 12, the girl stole from her grandmother's accumulated money, and she immediately refused custody of her granddaughter. Then, Zunich first got into a foster family, but she did not manage to stay there. This happened again and again. The girl's violent character could not be curbed by any foster parents. In 2 years, Sabrina changed several dozen families, until in 2011, the Nofel family opened the doors of their home to her. Lisa Nofel was a social worker. The 41-year-old woman ran a boarding house for orphans. She heard about the troubled girl and decided to try to help her herself. The woman persuaded her 42-year-old husband, Kevin, to take the troubled teenager into her family. She believed that the love and care Sabrina lacked would help her start a new life. Zunich, 17, came to the Nofel family and immediately realized that things were different here. Her two half-sisters, Megan, 13, and Haley, 2, were delighted to have a new addition to their family and, following their parents' example, welcomed the girl as their own. The rebellious girl of yesterday began a new, happy, measured life. Her marks at school improved. She no longer sought to run away from home. On the contrary, all free time tried to spend in the circle of the new family. We had a good relationship with Lisa, but I trusted Kevin more. We could secrete with him. He could always support me. He was my friend and my father at the same time. He never judged me and made me feel really needed, Sabrina later recalled. But a close family friend did not understand such a close relationship between daughter and father. He said that they did not communicate not so much as relatives, but as cronies. Having come to visit them one day, the man noted that he was a little confused by their looseness and jokes below the belt, but he did not pay much attention to it, as it turns out later, in vain. For 4 years, the family lived soul to soul, and from the outside looked quite happy. Trips to the countryside, trips to the movies, and conversations at the family dinner were an integral part of life. Family Nofel. When Sabrina turned 18, she could have gone out on her own, but instead she chose to stay with the family. The whole idyll collapsed on November 16, 2012. The father of the family went to work on the night shift, and Lisa stayed home with the girls. Everyone went to their rooms, but suddenly at 1:15 a.m., Sabrina decided to visit her foster mother. She was holding a 40-centimeter knife. The woman's screams were heard by the family's eldest daughter, Megan. Seeing what was happening, she tried to pull her foster sister away from Lisa, but it was all in vain. Zunich, as if mad. Then the teenager rushed to the phone and tearfully called police.
Emergency. What is going on? Hello? My mom was a knock. Who has the knife? My sister. Where is your sister? Quick! What? I got everyone coming to you, honey. Where is your sister?
The police arrived at the scene exactly 15 minutes later, but there was nothing they could do to help Lisa. Her adopted daughter had stabbed her 178 times, and she died at the scene. 3-year-old baby Haley was found in a closet. She also came to her mom's house at night, but miraculously managed to slip out of bed and hide. Sabrina's face, body, and clothes, who was found in the next room, spoke for themselves. The girl was immediately taken into custody and charged with aggravated murder. She did not answer questions and only continued to say, "Mentally, I wasn't there." In the morning, when Kevin returned home, the police told him what had happened. They found the man's demeanor strange. He reacted completely calmly. I can't tell you how a man should look when he suddenly learns that his wife has been brutally murdered, but I don't think Kevin did. His indifference was astounding and made one wonder, well, how can this be? Lisa's friend Erica Geether later said. Even more bizarre was what Kevin did immediately after the police left his home. The man called the insurance company and received a payment of $800,000, about 65 million rubles ed, for life insurance for his wife. He almost immediately bought a luxury mansion in Florida, several cars, and began taking flying lessons, for which he constantly lacked money. Meanwhile, Sabrina remained behind bars. The police had a killer, but they couldn't figure out his motive. The more they looked at the relationship between the adopted daughter and her father, the more suspicious it seemed. Zunich kept a sepulchral silence, but her regular questions about Kevin worried her greatly. Where is he? Why doesn't he visit me? He promised, she questioned. Then the investigators decided to look at what had happened from a different angle. They told her that he moved to sunny Florida, where he now lives his best life. Caged, Sabrina was enraged by this information, and she decided to tell the whole truth about the murder of her foster mother. She told the investigation that she and Kevin had more than a child-custodian relationship. According to the girl, they became close in 2012. Unexpectedly aroused passion forced them to seclude themselves in motels in a car, in which a couple of days later, the happy family went on a picnic. Feelings were so strong that in one of these meetings, Kevin admitted to Sabrina that he was going to divorce Lisa, but the coming problems with the division of the children and the house upset him. Instead of a legal plan, he came up with a plan of his own, which he proposed to his new lover. He promised her that once she gets Lisa out of their way, they can finally start a new happy life thanks to her impressive life insurance policy. Kevin said that life with Lisa had become unbearable for him and he kept thinking about ending it. He came up with a plan to get a fresh start. If I did everything the way he said, I would get 25 years at worst. Kevin promised that he would wait for me and visit me, Sabrina said. The girl said her foster father trained her in murder tactics and helped her choose a weapon. Investigators later recounted that the blows were so hard that the knife was bent. It was supposed to look like a burglary. In case I was caught, he advised me to feign insanity, but I failed, the murderer said. On August 9, 2013, 43-year-old Kevin Nofel was taken into custody and charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Zunich testified against his adoptive father at his trial in the spring of 2014, but his defense continued to argue that she was making it up and there was no connection between the two. There is no evidence that Kevin had this relationship with Sabrina, no DNA, no videotapes, nothing. The only argument is the girl's story, nothing more, said attorney Gary Vick. When it became clear that all the denials looked unconvincing, Kevin decided to change the tactics of excuses. Connection with his adopted daughter, he no longer denied, but now claimed that she killed his wife because of jealousy. This failed theory was followed by the next one, according to which Lisa guessed about the affair and intended to kick Sabrina out of the house, but she was ahead of her, thus deciding to revenge. The only thing that remained unchanged, in the words of the man, was his complete denial of involvement in the murder of his wife. The man assured that his adopted daughter acted alone, but he did not realize that by changing his testimony, he was digging his own grave. Sabrina's words were also confirmed by Lisa's best friend. At the trial, the woman said that about a week before the incident, the adopted girl began to behave somewhat defiantly. She presented herself as if Kevin was her spouse. She was being rude to Lisa, handing out instructions to her. The woman retained audio recordings of their phone conversations, which became decisive evidence against Kevin. On June 11, 2014, Nofel was found guilty on all charges and a month later was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. He will be eligible for parole for the first time in 2043, when he will be 73 years old. Unlike her accomplice, Sabrina pleaded guilty, but it didn't help mitigate her sentence. The girl received the same sentence as her accomplice, life imprisonment with parole eligibility in 2042, when she will be in her 50s. Before sentencing, Zunich said, "I feel sorry for all those I have hurt. Lisa didn't deserve what happened to her. I can't tell you in words how sorry I am for what I did and how much my conscience torments me. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry.